Hey, welcome everybody. We're back here live with Dr. A, and we're so excited that you're here. It is Virtual High Five Friday, and would you just give us a five inside the chat or inside the comments section of the Facebook Live, just to let us know that you're ready to go today? Just put the number five in there or the hand emoji, and let us know that you're showing up today because we've got a great Q&A lined up with Dr. A. Dr. A, welcome to a Friday version of Q&A with you, the master Dr. A.
Well, thanks, David, and welcome everybody. And I hope everybody is currently safe and healthy. And if you're not, our prayers and condolences. Our wish for your speedy recovery is with you today. And very excited. We have an amazing guest on today, which I'm excited about, who is really one of those people that has taken the journey to become a higher version of herself. And very excited about having Lana Batishev on with us.
Hi, Dr.
Yes.
Ray. Thank you so much for having me on, and it's such an honor. And I just have to say, this journey alongside you, even though my physical health was impacted, it's really my mental health that was completely transformed. That's where I got most of my value. And I'm so excited to talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, at a time like this where there's such uncertainty, it just feels right to get together as fellow humans. There's a sense of bridging, and although this is a very serious thing, and we're dealing with it not just in the United States but all over the world, is that there's almost like a resetting that's going on. A sense of us as humans coming together, and kind of all those material things that we kind of fill our days full of are really aren't that important. It's really the our families and our communities, and I'm very excited because you always have great questions for me, and I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the best things that's happened to me because of your transformational system is it's just the emotional bandwidth that I created. I have so many ways I can respond to situations and be really like the cause and the matter instead of just always dealing with the curveballs. And that's just been something I've learned through your system. And my question for you today, I think this is so relevant. This is a lot of the discussions I've been having with my coaching clients this week is like, disappointment, everything's canceled and disappointment upon disappointment. We went from 2 weeks in quarantine, now we've got 30 additional days, and who knows what's going to happen there. Like, how do we roll with it? How do we stay flexible, creative, and actually like make sense of our life and work through all that we're experiencing all together? I was actually talking to a client in Singapore of of all places, and she's like, I've got two little kids at home, I'm homeschooling, I'm locked down. And like, I'm like, me too. That's exactly where I am. So we're more united than ever, but there's just this disappointment. How do we work through that?
Yeah, I like that. And actually, you hit on the answer right there. It's that we're more similar than we are different. We're all undergoing, some small plans have been disrupted, some large plans. All of a sudden, moms are, and some dads, obviously, we have Mr. Moms as well, are all of a sudden they've got the whole load of their kids back, and there's that space that gap that isn't there. And one of the things we talked about yesterday, and I think it's really important, is to look in terms of ourselves and those around us, right? Kind of put it in perspective. And with that, going, I talked about this yesterday, but putting on your oxygen mask first for your kids, right before your kids, is kind of what we need to do for ourselves. And one of the most important things uh, is really becoming awakening and being present to ourselves. And it's a great time. What happens, and I'll just make the analogy of a more pleasant time. When we go on vacation, we have a tendency to make a bunch of resolutions. We suddenly kind of see our life in perspective. We're enjoying ourselves. We kind of slow down. We kind of get off the hamster wheel. And we make all kinds of things. I'm going to do this when I get back. And then we go back to work because it's only a week or two, right? If you're lucky to have that long a vacation. And then you go back in about 3 days, those intentions to make these fundamental changes all of a sudden are disrupted because life is crazy again. And you're back working many hours, just trying to get everything done, go through your day, then be home with your family. And so we really don't have a time like we have right now. So what I look at it as, and what I'm excited about, yeah, I've got the full burden. My kids aren't as young as yours, but they are taking tests. And yet, actually, today, Savannah or Erica was taking one of her tests, and she's sitting there. She goes, "Dad, now you have to be really quiet while I'm taking the test." And then as she's taking the test, about every third question she's asking me about, right? Because she's got me here, this source, this physician. She's asking this question. I said, Erica, you need to make the decisions. And it was this relationship and a chance to talk about integrity, right? And to talk about these little things that daily life don't give us. And as long as we come from the idea of gratitude and realize these are times where we now have more time. This is not going away. This thing is settling in. The novelty of it is over. And now we have to deal with it both functionally, emotionally, spiritually, and obviously for many financially. So I think each one of those has its own place and time. But the one thing I do know, if we are chaotic, we talked yesterday about the window of tolerance. If we're not able to adjust ourselves and basically sense our feelings, control our feelings, and put this part of our brain back in place again, then we're more likely not to be successful and to just chaotically go through each day and go through massive thoughts and get into these cognitive emotive loops where we're thinking and feeling sorry for ourselves and all those other things. So I guess where I would start with that, Lana, the answer to that question is to examine ourselves. And, maybe we could just do that right now for a moment. I think it'd be good for everybody on the line. And I started doing a little bit. I got a lot of great responses. But just for a moment, as you're on the line, you may be still listening to this, hopefully you're giving yourself time for yourself to listen to this, because think of it as putting your oxygen mask on right now and just have an opportunity to maybe think about some of this. But let's just spend a moment and kind of get in the present moment. Are we okay doing that? Can we do that together? All right. So what I love everybody to do, Lana, you, and I'm going to do it myself, is just you can put your eyes open or your eyes closed. It doesn't really matter. And let's just kind of sense our breath, kind of cover our breath. So in other words, kind of think about, you can pick an area, whether it's, the breath coming in through your nose, feeling your chest expand, feeling your abdomen expand. But let's just take a moment and kind of sense our breath, kind of feel it. You probably haven't been thinking about it. And if you use it as kind of an indicator, most of us are probably breathing a little shallow and maybe from our upper chest. And that's because we have a level of tension going on right now, this anxiety level. Your body will always tell you what's going on if you just spend a moment. So what I'd love to do now is to kind of sense, where are you right now? And where's your breathing and how do you feel? And let's take about 3 or 4 really deep breaths. So take a deep inhalation. Let's take a really deep breath together. And you just let it passively come out, or exhale. Let's do another one, really deep, and kind of feel yourself, kind of sense what you feel as your body kind of feel maybe your belly kind of expand, which indicates you're now breathing more from your lower abdomen, which is great. That's a deeper, more centering breath. And exhale. Do one more. And then exhale. But just spend a moment and sense, well, I'll ask you, Lana, what did you feel? What do you feel now versus maybe what you did when we started?
Just a little more relaxed and present in my body.
Yeah. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, it's a thing we don't do, especially if you got 4 kids at home, 3 kids at home, you're running around, you're watching TV, you're not doing that for yourself, and you're putting yourself in this level of tension. And what happens then is we repress our emotions and we put them inside of us. And it's so important for us to kind of during the day, not just now, but during the day when we sense it, we'll start feeling this sense that something's not right, either, in our throat, or maybe tension in our jaw, or maybe a funny queasy feeling in our stomach, or pressure in our heart. And what in essence those things are emotions, and they're normal emotions. And we have to actually thank ourselves, because in our design, those emotions protected us for thousands and thousands of years. They gave us warning signs when there was danger. And now they're there. And yeah, it's good to have a little sense of anxiety about what's going on. That's your alertness, where you can make sure that you're doing the right things, that you're getting your groceries from the right place, that you are using the proper protocol and separation physically of time. But at the same time, it's also thank yourself and thank your mind for providing that service to you, because it's so important. Yet on the other side of it, you don't really need that right now. What we need is that center of relaxation and feeling, where we're actually now fully present, so we can be alert and aware. Because I mentioned this last week, but there was one of the governmental officials was talking about how important it was to keep your hands away from your eyes and your nose and your mouth, and you may or may
I
not
saw
seen
that.
it. Yeah, and all of a sudden she goes and takes her paper and licks it. It's fully not aware. So that awareness is important for us. But beyond that awareness and what I can do to help my family, then the rest is not helpful. And we want to remove that. And how we remove it is we first just quiet ourselves and sense, what am I feeling? It'll tell you. And you can actually put, if like you're feeling a little anger or just, frustration, like you said, they canceled this event. I wanted this event. I planned, I bought the dress for it, or, I've been planning on doing this, or I'm getting I know like I just know now, my hair is getting longer. I'm maybe going back to hair that's really long. But really, is that important at a time like this? Of course it isn't. And to worry about it, is that important? Of course it isn't. Maybe it's an opportunity to maybe make a, when I remember my Lori, my wife used to, when we sailed, when I was much younger, she used to make a little ponytail when we go sailing, not when I was in practice, and have fun with it. So it's a time to kind of have fun with these things and kind of laugh at yourself and say, you know what, I'm taking everything so seriously. Why don't they just take a couple deep breaths and, be there? So again, putting the face mask on first, putting yourself in position, knowing that the world is, everybody is having to modify their schedule. And this is a great opportunity to really do what I think is really important in that present. What are the things that fulfill me? What are the things that make me happy? And I have to tell you, it's not the external things, because everything we buy tarnishes with time. The shine goes away. It ages. It needs a new engine. It doesn't work right. The things that really matter are those times we were with our family, connecting with the people we love. And so I just think it's really a great time to, maybe this is kind of a recentering. Obviously, as horrific as the pandemic is, maybe it's a time for us to recenter and wake up and be more conscious. And, I was talking yesterday at the end of the poem about, we can't reach out with our hands, but we certainly can reach out with our hearts.
I love that. Can I ask you one more question? A two-part
Sure.
question? Okay.
Sure.
So I'm, former critical care nurse, and this last couple of weeks I've been reaching out to so many of my former colleagues and people like that. And just some of the stories, like one of my friends was a cardiac nurse in a clinic, and they've just shut down the whole clinic and send them to work the COVID tents. And she's scared. She's got little children at home, and just that survival kind of response that we have. And then just for all, the other part of that, so the healthcare workers, because I think they're uniquely impacted right now. They're risking their lives every day, like really risking their lives. And then the rest of us who, just like the bottom is, for some people, like their life as they know it is completely shifting so quickly every day, that like, how do they stay out of that survival mode? I was talking to someone today who has 5 years of groceries, and that just took my breath away. Like, I had no words. And so people just kind of, in the element 24, you kind of talk about the 4 levels of self, and how can we stay resourceful during this time and not go into this survival mode where it's just not serving us any longer.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think it's really, kind of started with that. We're all human. We're all scared. We're all scared. We all have to realize that. We also, at a time like this, we have to behave in a way that really resonates with our inner self and be aware of that. And if we become scarcity bound and we start thinking just about ourselves, we're really not going to go through this well. Because at a time like this, we have to think about us. And I want to go back to our design, because, we evolved, whatever your religious preferences, but we know one thing. We know that we've been here for a long time. And we know during that period, most of the time, it was like this every day. You get up every day and a saber-toothed tiger could eat you. A virus could come, an infection. You could eat a bad piece of meat. You could get stung by something that we did not have antibiotics. And so there were lots of bad things that could happen to you. So the thing that held early man together and early woman together was this sense of compassion, of that we're in this together. And I think that's so important, that we reach out and, obviously, yes, put your oxygen mask on. You need to have the fundamental things for your family to make sure you're not going to starve, make sure you have, in times like this, the things that will keep you safe. But beyond that, ask, is this in the best interest for my fellow humans? I think one of the beautiful things the grocery stores did almost right away is, listen, older people are at higher risk. So open up the grocery store first thing in the morning, repack it at night, and open it up to the elderly first. Make sure they're getting all the healthy things they need in nutrition. And I think for each and every one of us now, there is a personal, obviously both of us being from the healthcare profession. Right now, our healthcare providers are stepping up and doing their job just like our soldiers do at a time to protect our country. And we need to celebrate them every minute we can, because they are at harm's way, and we need to be there for them, provide extra service for them. Anything we can do, whether we run stores or we run everything, pay attention to what they're doing. Make sure we're not hoarding things that are important for them, and make sure we're letting them know we're there for them. I was talking the other day about, I even looked into, did it make sense for me to go back, and do that? And actually, I look at where I am in my life and how I can help people. What I'm doing right here and what we're doing, talking to our fellow physicians, gives them a sense of grounding and being grounded right now. It's like, I love the analogy of looking like when you're in California or Oregon and you see these huge sequoias or these redwoods that have been around for 1,000 years. They're there and survive because of their wisdom and because of their magnificence, and they're connected and they're grounded with incredible roots that go down. And this is our time to ground ourselves and to put ourselves in position where, if we are in harm's way like that, let's make sure we're being smart. But beyond that, let's make sure we're getting, as we talked about, making sure we're helping them. Like, a great thing we can do is help them with their rest, because when they're incessantly worried about that, it makes it hard for them to do their job. And for everybody on this call and for everybody that shares this, the idea is that as fellow humans, the more we reach out and help each other, and, for young people right now who, really aren't used to, never experienced anything like this, haven't had this kind of adversity happen before, they have a very, very important responsibility. And that is, even though, yes, most of them, if they do contract the virus, will not be impacted greatly other than maybe having like a cold-like symptoms or a flu. But they're part of the connection of us as fellow humans. And their role right now is to make sure they do stay away, that they do the very simple things we talk about, this physical separation, but in the same time, this tremendous connection that we can have with each other puts everybody in the best possible position to go through this. And part of it will be, right now, fear can turn to grief if we lose someone that's important to us. And we have to be able to experience that and do that in a fashion, but still function, because we can't lose our way, because that at times like this and throughout our DNA, how we're designed, we are designed for times like this. We have been through many wars, many famines, many plagues, the bubonic plague, the Spanish flu of 1917. This is not something that we're unaware of that suddenly just happened because we're at this place in time. And we actually have the ability now, with what we're doing today, to be able to use technology to our advantage and really not let these things have a long-term effect on us, but get through it and manage it as we can, and then move forward stronger than we've ever been before.
Great. Hey, Dr. A, as we wrap up here today, inside your Habits of Health transformational system, you provide some insights into how people can grow into a greater sense of consciousness around adopting the habits of health. Would you mind just giving some perspective on this process or this system that you've created, and how people can actually become more conscious about creating the habits and how that can become more their new kind of normal in the future?
Yeah. And, we've been talking about this whole time with Lana, is that having time allows us to now make meaningful transformational changes. Habits take time. They take consistency and time. And so we have those things now. If you have everybody at home, but you can still make time for yourself, and you should make time for yourself. Put the oxygen mask on. And part of that is, those 4 things. Put that back up for a second, because I want to kind of go through. I think that's a really powerful piece. So it's what we don't know that we don't know. It's unconscious, competent, incompetent. It means that we just don't know. So we're not able to do some of the things that can help us. Like when we talk about stop, challenge, and choose, creating a gap between stimulus and response. Yeah, if you read something that's scary, it scares you, and then you start just incessantly thinking about it. That doesn't serve you. But now you're starting to have the tools, and that's what the Habits Health transformational system is about. That's what the website is about, to give you these tools. There's an ebook that you can read that's free. That'll kind of give you this idea, the ability to stop, challenge, and choose. But what we want to do is make you aware. It's what we call a conscious and competent. Make you aware of some of the things you can do right now that will help you negotiate and navigate through these tough times. And then once you're conscious of it, then you can start working on it. We give you great suggestions. You can work with a mentor or a coach to help you until you become a conscious competent, which means you're thinking about it. You're thinking about installing this new habit, this new stop, challenge, and choose to help you throughout the day. And then eventually over time, David, you become an unconscious competent. In other words, you do it automatically. 50% of everything we do during the day, we do unconsciously. And some of those things we've done for a long time. And right now they may not be serving us, like the hand washing part, making sure you go 20 seconds. You need to think about those to build that new habit. But once you do that and you've got that as part of your life, that new armor, that protective armor now is with you, and to prevent you moving forward, because things will happen beyond this particular crisis. And we want to always learn from the obstacles that are getting in our way so we can become a higher version of ourselves and be better prepared to endure the next thing that happens to us.
Great. Well, as we wrap up here today, there's some great resources on the habitsofhealth.com website, including the weekly macro habit tracker. And this is a great resource just to begin to evaluate how are you doing with installing these macro habits of health. And by just evaluating where you are and assessing and maybe reaching out to the person that shared this video with you to get more perspective on resources that are available to help you to fill in those gaps that are maybe not doing so well right now. So Dr. A, any closing remarks as we go into the weekend to inspire people to live a healthier and happier life?
Yeah, so it works. And Lana's a great example of that. I met Lana, how long ago was it, like 10 years, Lana?
14 years ago.
14 years, wow. That's right. You didn't have those little babies that are now growing up and are so gorgeous. So when she started, and I remember back, and she was deciding whether to go back to the ICU or not, or learn the skill sets that she could go out and actually evolve her profession. She went into nursing to help people, but she loved having the time and wanted to have a family. She had a wonderful husband, spend more time on working on herself. And now I look 14 years later, and now you're a finished product. I mean, obviously never totally finished. We continue to learn and grow, but you're a finished product to be able to sit here at a time like this, and you're helping thousands of people at a time of stress. You're able to stay calm, in control, take care of your kids and the things that are most important, but then reach out and look back and say that the work you've done has prepared you for this time. And so I just want to congratulate you on your journey and all you're doing to help us as one of our amazing coaches, to help us at a time like this, help people have a sense of calm, know what they can do and what they can't do, and know the difference. And so we can move forward and weather this storm. Because remember, after a tumultuous storm, what happens is things will clear and the sky will be blue again, and we'll be able to move on with our lives. So thank you so much, David, for all the work you're doing to put these on. And Lana, thank you, and David, as fellow coaches, as we reach out and help the world through this crisis. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Make sure you like this page if you want to get future updates, and then share this video if you think this will help somebody else in your world. Thanks, everybody.